What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Strength Solutions Podcast. We're on Apple and Spotify. You can rate and review us. Check us out on YouTube. Leave a comment down below and download that app, Strength Solutions, so that you can schedule your appointment today. Then, if you're looking for a magical place to find us, we have a website, strengthsolutionspodcast.com. You can email us, strengthsolutionspodcast@gmail.com, if you have fitness questions or there's a topic fitness-wise you want us to talk about. Then, if you're looking for Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, it's Strength Solutions Podcast. I'm Strength Solutions Edwin.
I'm Strength Solutions Nathaniel.
All right, let's get to it.
Let's get it.
All right, we're done. We're done.
Thanks for being here. That's awesome.
That's usually what people do when they're starting like working out. They're like, I'm done. This is
you're walking the door. Cool.
I'm good. So today I really want to go over, look, this fitness stuff and the stuff that I've learned is really hard.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we get clients who come in here and they're like, I want to do this exercise, this exercise, this exercise. And they don't have the prerequisites for that exercise, right? And today I really want to talk about the importance of hiring a good trainer because they could speed up this process.
Oh, yeah.
So recently I've had this one client who came to me with like an injury, and their goal was also to lose a lot of weight. And they were with me for a year. And now I feel so confident that they built a habit, that they're on their own, and that they know what to do if they get in trouble with something, pain wise. Maybe they'll check in every now and then, but we talked about even just having breakfast once a month together just to catch up.
Yeah, just to show that you care, right, about their success. We were talking a lot about that at the UTSA event that we were at last week, and just really trying to
birds up.
really trying to like reiterate to people that we're trying to take a different approach to personal training in general and just really focus on the individual beyond, here's a program, here's this, go do that, and really trying to make a difference.
Yeah. So let's talk about like the physical part, right? And today I was in the meeting and explaining that you can have back pain, and one person's back pain comes from the way they walk. Another person's from their core. Another person's from their upper body. And this is why it's so complex. But if I'm a good trainer, I can tell you more or less, this is where it's coming from. This is how you get out of it. And this could speed up your process. And it's also hard physically because we all have different anatomies. I don't think people talk about that. And so within the meeting, there's a husband there, and I've trained the wife too. And they literally squat completely differently. One has a little bit more of a closed pelvis, so you have to open them up. We've talked about this in the past,
right? And
having your feet a little bit wider. And they're like, wow, this feels so much better. And I was like, yep, well, now you're going to squat better and not have back pain.
It's funny because a lot of people kind of say, oh, I'm just not good at deadlifting. Deadlifting just doesn't feel good for me, so I just don't do it, And it's funny at this point, whereas maybe in the past I would have been like, oh, okay, we'll skip it or whatever. My immediate first thought is like, you're probably just doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And that's probably why it doesn't feel good. But I agree with the whole point of speeding up the process. I see it in my clients where I've been where they've been, right? Trying to get strong, put muscle on or lose weight or whatever it is. And the speed at which they progress through that sort of journey is so much faster than like when I was trying to do it on my own, right? Before I had more knowledge or before I was doing anything. And you can see how much value like you yourself bring to them, and to your point about having pain differently and in different areas, taking my brother, for example, he's had leg pain, generally when you talk about it, it sounds like,
well, it's your brother. Did you just tell him you're just weak?
Yeah. I was like, can you just stop hurting? Have you decided? And talking to him, just hearing the symptoms, you're like, well, it could be sciatica. It could be this. It could be that. It could be, but then seeing them in person, I was like, oh, his leg pain is actually coming from his calf. Right. And like you said, other people, it may not be anything to do with that, but you never know unless you have a great trainer.
Yeah. And then there's the aspect of nutrition that a lot of trainers do, right? And they usually give you like a good meal plan and they're like, just do it like this and do it like that. But there's no coaching to it. If there's coaching to it, it's a little bit different. But that's why we talk about it's small steps. How many times have we seen The Biggest Loser? A lot of these people gain weight after they're done with the show, or people in everyday society that you know right now, you're like, man, they lost so much weight. And then you see them 2 years later and you're like, what happened? And we forget it's about human habits. And we coach to habits. And a good trainer would lead you to take these small steps, because we know gains in the weight room don't happen real fast. At the beginning, it does.
Sure.
Right. But over time, it's not that big.
I almost feel like a good trainer would, I want to say, like, give you less information, but more of they would hold your hand less, right? Mm-hmm. They would give you the information, guide you to whatever direction, right? But at the end of the day, it's your choice to sort of find the answer, especially when it comes to nutrition, because of how convoluted it is and how many different other, aspects that play into the way you eat.
We're talking about carnivores on your way to eat.
Yeah. You're right.
So it was crazy because we're at the UTSA event and the doctor was like, what do you think about fiber? That we were next to. And I was like, yeah, I like my clients to have fiber. And I usually start like women at 15 grams, 25 grams, and then we'll go from there. If they can reach that target, that'd be the goal target.
Sure.
But then it would be like, okay, how much protein are you eating with how much fiber you need? Because we want the digestive tract to like work properly. And so I was like, that'd be like a start point, but then it's very, again, individualized.
It depends on the person.
All that stuff. And so just like with fitness, and I talked about like you get these big gains at the beginning nutritionally. If you cut calories at the beginning, you're going to lose a lot of weight. Then your weight progress becomes less and less and less.
Right.
And so it comes about these minor and habitual things that you do over time. And I think that's the big difference.
Yeah, huge.
And I also think a good trainer actually helps you manage stress too, as well.
At the very least, they'll give you advice on how to, right? And, I tell a lot of my clients to like, look, personal training should never be something that you're like worried about coming in to do, right? Like, I don't know. I understand trying to keep people accountable and kind of reaching out and things like that. But I feel like it's like too many times have I had clients come in and say like, oh, hey, how was your last personal training experience? And they're like, oh man, my last personal trainer, he'd yell at me all the time or would like, someone I know was telling me that they had a personal trainer that would like make women leave if they didn't have like makeup on or like didn't.
No way. Yeah. I got to hear the story off air.
Yeah. I'm going to leave it there. But it's like, if your trainer's stressing you out, that's not good. Right. And so a good trainer would teach you how to manage your life stress and also not be an added stress to, your situation.
Wow. Dude, my mind's just been blown.
But there's people like that, right? There's trainers out there that are like pushing people like crazy or, like almost being like degrading in a way, and it's like, which is weird because I feel like some people are like, oh yeah, will my personal trainer yell at me, like that.
I mean, I've had it. They're like, you're not working me hard enough. And then I was like, are you getting results?
Yeah.
Like,
that's great.
Oh my God, you're stronger than you ever been.
Yeah.
And I'm not going crazy on you.
Right.
And it's just, why do you want to punish yourself as a person?
No, man.
It's crazy. Come with love.
Yeah. There you go.
Come with love. And I also think a good trainer talks about your sleep and your sleep routine.
Oh yeah.
That's something that I think that is very underrated. The idea and concept that you're jet lag every weekend. Mm-hmm. So every weekend you go out and you're just like out drinking and partying. Next time rolls around Mondays are so hard. Well, you're jet lag every Monday.
Yeah.
That's what happens. Like you're resetting your circadian rhythm
every single weekend. And it's like, of course I
was guilty of this.
Yeah, we all are, right?
I'm not anymore.
Yeah.
Right now I use it as like, I'm going to have a weekend where I'm just going to have fun.
Yeah. Yeah. But you still are managing that, yeah. Right? I think if your trainer, in your initial assessment isn't asking you, what's your social life like? How do you sleep? What's your stress level? What job do you do? And, I ask those questions because I'm like, all of these tell me about your life and where you are currently, because you may be telling me one thing, but if I ask these specific questions, I'm going to get more of a real answer. Mm-hmm. Right. And then I'm going to be like, oh, well, this person is, managing a whole company, owns a business, whatever. Well, they're probably stressed out. Right. And then they're telling me that they're working out 5 days a week for an hour doing a HIIT and, CrossFit training. And I'm like, well, it's probably why you're not getting results. Right. Yeah. And so, but these are questions that should be asked, and a good trainer will ask them and not just try to add more to what you're currently doing.
Yeah. More is always better.
Always.
Right.
Everything's bigger.
And another thing that happens is the follow-up. And it's not a follow-up like, here's your perfect weights.
Yeah.
Here's your routine. The follow-up is going to look like you're saying, how are you doing? What's going on? Because honestly, your mind controls what's going on physically.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if you don't have your mind right, your physical is going to be limited. And then your physical is going to limit your mind and make you even more stressed.
Vice versa, right?
Yeah. It's intense.
Mm-hmm. It really is.
So being a trainer is more like doing everything at once. And a really good trainer will teach you those, like you were saying earlier, like this small thing here, this small thing there. Because if I give you too much information, and I think this happens all the time, like I was listening to a podcast talking about just like, well, if you don't eat this much or that much, and I'm just like, right now you're fucking confusing people. Because then they're like, or I've seen podcasts like, you got to strength train 2-3 days a week, you got to do yoga, and then you got to run at least this, so you got to do a high intensity. It's like, well, then that's my whole week.
It's funny. I was working out today and I was changing up my program just a bit. And I had kind of like written some stuff out as I was sitting on the bench. And I was like, man, this is too much right now. This is too much for me to do. And I was like, I'm going to cut it back. And so I kind of cut it back, added in another day just so I can like kind of spread it out a little bit more. And I was like, I'm glad that I did it because I just got to manage what I can do right now, and I think, like you said, unless, I don't know, you got all the time in the world or whatever, like the reality is that you're probably not going to be able to do these long workouts or have a perfect week, right? Like one of my friends was just texting me that she was moving and she felt kind of bad because she hasn't worked out in like a week or two. And I was like, dude, you're moving, like relax. Like the gym is going to be there. Working out's going to be there. Just get back to it next week. It's cool, but I think a lot of people do really make themselves feel guilty because of all the information that's out, right? Where, I mean, if you sit down with me, like, I don't understand how I can sit there and be like, well, you need to be doing this 3 days a week, this 2 days a week, you need to eat like this, do whatever. And like, for someone to sit there and go like, yeah, that sounds great. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. And so this week I learned this concept of, people are so persistent that it can lead them to stay stuck in the same place or fall back. Right. So it's like me driving to work, knowing a pothole's there, and I'm just going the same one, hit the pothole. Instead of me, let me go to the lane over instead of hitting the pothole.
Yeah. And then you're surprised when your wheel's all fucked up. Right.
Yeah.
That was a good metaphor.
Yeah, because it happens all the time. I mean, like at UTSA, I hope this young person she did yoga, and I had a good conversation with her at UTSA. And I was like, she just needs, and I even told her, I was like, you just need 1 to 2 days of strength training, and it would really elevate your yoga a little bit. And I remember having that conversation with her. And just because I had the conversation, I felt like it was a good conversation. I felt like she's like, okay, maybe I do just need 1 day of strength training. Yeah. And then I remember helping this person who did Zumba one time. And I was like, give me 1 day a week. And Zumba became easy for them. They had like, it's too easy. I was like, because you're stronger. You're more efficient with your way you move. Yeah. And by someone teaching you like what to add and what to take away, it makes a huge difference. Yeah. So you could tell people about our event. I think it's November 1st.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So this is a good transition here. So it's November 8th.
Oh, my bad.
8th. It's on a Saturday at 1 p.m.
It was 1 p.m. I said first.
There you go. It's November 1st at 8 p.m.
I'm a little dyslexic, bro. You got to give me a break.
Okay, clear. It's November 8th at 1 p.m.
November 8th, 1 p.m.
Yes. It will be taking place here at Strength Solutions off of Data Point in our gym. We're having a licensed therapist come by, someone that we're friends with, someone that we know, and together. So I will be there. She will be there. And we're going to hold like a little seminar with some of our clients, some of her clients, and then anybody else, obviously, that's listening or would like to come be a part of it as well. It's free. We're going to be talking about free, gratis. It's going to be grouties. It's going to be about primarily like anxiety in a general sense related to fitness, health, the gym, support systems, things like that. Having some of our clients that I feel like could benefit from talking to a therapist, and then vice versa, having people that go to therapy already but could probably benefit from physical activity, right? It's hard, we understand there's like, what was our friend saying the other day, the gym scaries, right?
Yeah.
Being intimidated about going to the gym, or also just having hangups, right? Like, I don't know, maybe someone told you a long time ago that you'll never look good or you never get your goals, and you just kind of like sat believing that for a long time. Or you think it's going to be too hard or whatever it is.
Or you'd be bulky because you lift weights.
And so you will have two professionals on both ends of the spectrum of mental health, and then also in the physical and fitness side. So come by, come talk. It's a safe place, no judgment, small. I don't expect 100,000 people to be there, but it would be cool if people turned up.
100,000?
Yeah, I think we could fit that many in here. You're coming out the windows.
People falling out pretty far.
Be all around the hallway.
Dang.
Be hot in here.
Well, speaking of a mental therapist, I told you I was going to tell you this story. That something happened to me the Friday. I was stuck in traffic.
Oh yeah, where you had like a thought,
moment
right?
of clarity.
Is this when you were listening to the album?
So
okay.
So this whole past week or so, since the announcement of Bad Bunny, right? We're doing the halftime show. Literally, like my thing's been filled with it, and it literally brought back like these childhood memories when I listened to his album. But before I get there, there's been a lot of stuff like, oh, he's not American, he's not this. And I remember being a Puerto Rican in Texas.
Can I pause you really quick? How long has Bad Bunny been around?
He's been around since like 2018.
Okay.
At least like more popular.
Okay.
Like he's been around longer, but
right.
A little bit longer, but he's
okay. Continue.
Well, anyways, like being a Puerto Rican in Texas and not feeling like Hispanic culture here is the same as Hispanic culture where my family's from, right in Puerto Rico. And it's hard as an individual to really feel at home and peace when you're away from that. And I saw someone else on like a TikTok say something like, you just got to accept it kind of thing. Cause he was from Texas when I saw his thing. I was like, oh shit. And he's like, Puerto Rican culture is so different than Mexican culture. And people think we're all the same within Latinos and all that stuff. And it really made me just like sit back this past week and like seeing hate for a guy who's an American citizen.
Right.
When Coldplay was not, or U2 was not an American citizen. Just throwing that out there, or Shakira. But because they did English songs, And
maybe because their image looks more acceptable.
Yes. Yes. Let's all go there with image. Well, anyways, I didn't listen to his new album this whole time. I haven't listened to Bad Bunny's. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to listen to it.
Just check it out.
Check it out or whatever. The first song, it has like these bongos and salsa kind of like rhythms. And like, dude, like this like thing just came over me. And so in therapy, you could do like somatic therapy. It's like movement of body. Like when I go walking, it's like that, or there's different ways to do therapy. And this was like therapy for me, and like to bring down something that was like so suppressed as my childhood. Like I'm about to get real deep.
Like, yeah, because now it's something that is more widely, I don't want to say accepted, but it's becoming more in your face, right? Whereas like, I never grew up listening to anything that sounded like Bad Bunny.
Yes.
Right.
So like for me, it opened something for me. For you, probably wouldn't.
Yeah. And it's funny because, so we've been listening to Bad Bunny a lot too. Like I've been telling you, because Camille's trying to like, she's trying to culture herself, right? Before it happens. And it's funny because I asked her, I was like, why now? Like, why do you want to listen to Bad Bunny right now? Like, what's the deal, And she was like, well, the reality is that like a lot of, like Black culture, right, and Hispanic culture, right. I'm gonna say particularly Mexican culture, because that's all I can speak to. Is that she was like, there's still like some of that like internal racism, like even though that they're
somebody go there,
like even though that you're like minority groups, like there's still people on both ends, because that don't like each other just based on race. But she was like, this is like the first person that I've noticed that has kind of like taken up, both ends, right? Especially now with like the state of the world and et cetera, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. And it's funny. So we were listening to it and playing music and stuff like that. And I was thinking about you, but I was driving and I was like, wow, as much as like I know mariachi music, right? Or like very traditional Mexican sounding music. Yeah, for real. Listening to Bad Bunny, I was like, this is like nothing I've heard before. It's not the same. I could not listen to this and be like, oh yeah, this reminds me of like the music I used to listen to at home. Because you're right. There is almost like this, like, I don't even know how to explain it, like tribal sort of like world type music. Like, yeah, with the bongos, there's a lot of horns, right? There's a lot of like,
there's a lot of mix from like Afro and different cultures.
Yes. There you go. That was like the perfect way of saying it.
So I've had a client who literally went to Puerto Rico, who's from Nigeria. It was like, this reminds me of Nigeria.
Wow. So it was more similar to that than it is to like Mexico. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's like you take some of the Mexican cultures, right? Or Mexican, sorry. I did the same thing. Latin cultures. And it's like you compare Mexico, Puerto Rico, and let's say like Spain.
Argentina.
Way different. All Portugal, right? All completely different. The food they eat, the music they listen to, the language, the culture, right? The religions, like all of that stuff is completely different. But they do all get sort of grouped together, and I could see why then, like some even inside Latin cultures are like, no, I'm not like that, like blah, blah. And it's like, I think a lot of people on the outside kind of are like, aren't you all sort of the same, and it's like, no, it's very different.
Yes. From island to island in the Caribbean.
Yeah. And I think that we don't realize that those are like Latin cultures and it is very different. And everything, maybe some stuff's the same, but.
And it brought me back to like my childhood, right? So listening to the music, the bongos, and I couldn't get the salsa out of my mind. And then I've been like listening to a lot of Puerto Rican culture and history this past week or so. But
when I noticed you've been getting like more into it lately.
Yeah, because it really hit me in that moment. And I was like, I was sitting there thinking about like my family, like there's terms of like endearment, right? But they're not really terms of endearment within Latin culture. So because I'm the darkest, right? So I was called negro sucio, right? Mm-hmm. It's like dirty blackie, right?
Yeah.
And it might sound nice in Spanish because it's not as harsh, but even the words are not very nice.
Right. Both of those words are usually used in a different context.
And then since we're very colonized, right, as well, a lot of times I remember my parents like, oh, you don't have a nicer hair, right? They didn't even realize that they've been colonized to think a certain way as well.
Yeah.
Versus y'all have different hairstyles and different things. And it like really brought back like the memory of like, man, dude, that was like so harsh as a kid to take, like,
wow,
this whole time. And you got called that over and over and over again because I was the darkest in the family. I also had like wavier hair, or, I used to cut it short all the time because it's just hard to deal with. And then it brought me back. I was there as a kid listening to this over and over, hearing the bongos. And then all of a sudden it brought me into like when I started driving and being pulled over, how many times I've been racially profiled just because I was darker. And for people to say there's not racism that doesn't exist. I've been profiled like multiple times.
Yeah.
I remember it even brought up a memory where me and my African-American friend, the other Mexicans are a little bit lighter skinned, right? We had a little bit baggier, quote unquote, outfits. We couldn't get into a bar, but they could.
Wow. And they're just like, no. Yeah, they never give you.
And there was one, we had a button up shirt and we had a guy who had like a polo t-shirt kind of looking thing. And they weren't allowing people wear polo t-shirts, but they let that guy in.
That's crazy, dude. And to your point about like racism existing, I'm trying to think about how to talk about this. I used to work at a job. Yeah, because
in a far away galaxy.
I'm not saying anything specific. So.
A far away galaxy.
Yeah. I worked at a job where I would listen to phone calls. Okay. And in these phone calls, through those years, I was like, oh, people are still horribly racist. They just don't talk about it.
Yeah.
They just pretend. And it really made me think about a lot of people, because I was like, how many people out there behind closed doors when they talking to friends or people they know are just horribly racist? And it's probably more than you think, which is unfortunate. It is sad.
Yeah. And so it brought me back to that place and just like all these things. And I don't realize, and people don't realize within Latin communities of how racist Latin people are towards each other.
Yeah, that too, right?
And so it's crazy because they're like, well, how can these people in the Valley vote for immigration policies that hurt their family members? And then they're like, well, they didn't come across this way or whatever. And like, you literally are turning your back to your own family kind of thing.
And the crazy part is that, man, I wish I could remember this quote. I got to find it because it's very important, but it kind of
hot dogs are hot dogs. Hot dog, hot diggity dog, hot dog.
We're all hot dogs on the inside. That was the quote. No, it was like if I allow your rights to get taken away, that takes away my rights, right? And the more that I allow someone else to be oppressed or ignored or whatever, the more likely it is that that's going to happen to me too.
So I saw a video recently where there's this guy who's liberal, Republican, and he was talking about like OnlyFans, right? That it should be, the Republican was like, it should be regulated, blah, blah, blah. So regulated. Right? And he was like, well, if young men didn't consume this, then there would be no OnlyFans.
Yeah.
He's like, it's part of free market. So you're against free market and capitalism.
Yeah.
He's like, whoa. Yeah, I'm for free market. But he's like, so you're for regulations? He's like, well, then he said something else. And I was like, so you want to regulate stuff, but you won't allow other people.
You're picking and choosing.
That's pretty much what you're saying. You're picking and choosing.
Yeah. You're saying this stuff is okay, but this stuff that I don't like, that has to be regulated. Yeah. And it's like, okay, well, you're not basing it off of anything other than emotions and your own opinions and morals.
And these are your beliefs.
Right.
But again, your kid doesn't have to fight to that market. Why are you blaming that market for it if you're really for free markets?
Yeah. And also just don't participate in the market then. Like, you don't have to.
Yeah. And then going through this whole...
He's like, but my card, it keeps getting charged at OnlyFans. I don't know. It needs to be regulated.
And then going through this whole Puerto Rican culture thing anyways, right? Let's go back to culture. I've been listening to other artists interview and people of Puerto Rico, and it's amazing what like just his residency did for Bad Bunny, right? Bringing in all that money, but also realizing that there's an artist talking about how this is the first time I feel like people in Puerto Rico are actually together.
Wow.
Because he's bringing people together.
God damn.
Like he's powerful. Like he's changing the concept and ideas and stuff. And then I did more research because I don't watch music videos or whatever.
Sure.
There's a Perro Sola, right? There's like a song that he has, right? I'll have to show you later. But he did a video because there's a trans person.
Oh, yeah. You told me about this. Yeah.
And he did a video for it. Like he's done so much like for the community.
That's wild, man. Yeah. In all honesty, I had no idea that he had any sort of activism qualities at all. You know,
he did a documentary, I think, at one point.
The only songs that I know are like the club ones, you know, that are getting played and stuff. And it's like, obviously every artist has a larger discography, especially like someone like him who's been around for such a long time.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. And I'm hoping that, you know, with bringing him into a very popular event will allow people to sort of experience the music, or at least take an interest in seeing who he is, why
the
he's
thing
done
is
these things.
The thing too with music is like it doesn't have to be the language that you like, right? So one time my brother understands French, right? He was learning French. He showed me French rap, and dude, it sounded so good. Did I know what they were saying? No, but it was like popping. It was like really good.
I mean, like think about all the what K-pop is like so popular right now, dude. No one knows what that.
What I really think right now on the internet is very few people are trying to control the extreme ends of things. And I think that's what's really happening. I think most people are just cool with it.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
A majority of people are probably fine with everything, but all we see are the extreme, right?
Yeah. It's just like, I know if you have more than 300 grams of carbs, you're going to die.
Oh, yeah. Was that lady saying that? Right.
Dude, what's crazy is I really respect this person, right? And her name's Gabrielle Lyon.
She's a doctor, right?
Doctor, yeah. And yes, you shouldn't have a shitload of carbs.
Of course.
right? Like, I get it, especially if you don't move. If you move, the more you move, you could have get a little bit more. But she used such an extreme example.
I think that they were.
And I think this is why fucking fitness industry is messed up.
Right, because from what I was reading, like in context, what she was talking about was, yes, like very sedentary population. She was like, if you're eating 300 grams of carbs per meal,
and that's not how it goes.
And you don't do anything, right? Yeah, but you're right, because I don't know if it was her team or maybe AI or someone else or whatever, but like they clipped it, right? And then that's all you see. And then you got to think about how many other things are being clipped in a certain way where the context is completely taken out just so that it looks shocking, right?
Yeah.
Because
she's really good. I know who she is.
Right. Yeah. It's like you look at it and it's one of those things where you're like, what did she say? Like, what the hell's happening right now? Mm-hmm. And then you're like, oh, it was a whole, 15-minute video where she like delved deep into, and you're like, what, God damn it. But nobody's going to go look at that video, unless you're like us or really interested in something. But everybody's just going to see, I knew it. Carbs. Aha. Yeah. And then it's like, that's why I don't do that, or whatever. Or they just use it to make themselves feel better, like to kind of gloat over other people,
Yeah. And this is why I can't stand the internet right now. And there's another video too that I saw where Athlete Next guy, Mike Hoyles, Peter Tia, and I think she was on there too, talking about squatting bad. And I'm just like, fuck, dude. Why do we got to keep on doing this on the internet? And then we're just like, a squat is bad, this is bad. Like, no, what's your goal? What do you want to do? Like,
it also really sucks to see like
high level professionals like say this shit.
And the thing too is like, it's funny because we shouldn't idolize people or anything like that, but like Athlete Next is one of the first people I ever started to watch on YouTube, dude. One of the first guys that I was like, whoa, there's like more to this than just like,
it's because he drew the muscle on
he would like do all the thing, and he had like his friend that was like funny, and his content was pretty good, man. And it's funny too because even he was one of the guys that used to like bag on what's that guy, V-Shred?
Yeah.
These are like old fitness YouTubers at this point. But he'd be like, oh, he's just talking about bullshit and blah blah whatever. And then it's just wild to see like the real time collapse of like some people, and you're like, what happened?
I just think it's like, because they're trying to go more and more viral as
extreme,
they go along.
Right? Yeah.
Instead of just like, dude, this is what it really is. It's like this simple.
I don't know if you've seen the stuff that's happening with Dr. Mike. Have you kind of seen some of that?
His PhD?
Yeah.
Give me exactly.
Quickly, there's this guy, his name is like Solomon something. I think they call him Milo. I'm pretty sure that's who they're referencing because they say Solomon something, but then they also say Milo or Milo. I don't know if those are two different people. Correct me if I'm wrong. But this guy has apparently gone after Dr. Mike a few times. Like, he clearly doesn't really like him. And he took his PhD dissertation off of whatever school he graduated from and broke it down and like criticized a bunch of stuff, which is wild, right? That's insane. And then Dr. Mike kind of came back and was like, oh, the one that you had was like a clerical error. It appears like that maybe it was a draft that he had written that got actually uploaded. But then he like came back and was like, oh no, it actually was the real paper, but there's all this stuff. A lot of the things that I think the guy was critiquing were like kind of silly, like grammatical stuff, I guess like just trying to poke at him and be like, look, you're not as smart as you think you are. But overall,
people piss me off, dude.
Yeah, it just seems like it's stupid, like just like shit. Somebody in the comments kind of made a funny comment on Dr. Mike's thing because he was like, the thing is that Solomon said that your PhD is bad, and so now I'm not allowed to believe anything you say anymore. And like he was being sarcastic, right? Yeah. But it's one of those things where it's like, dude, who cares? Like, if you go watch Dr. Mike's content, most of it's pretty good, and it's like you just gotta do your research no matter what. Because even if no one came over and criticized this whole PhD paper, like still you can't just believe everything this guy says or anybody really.
That's why I feel like podcast is better. It's long form, so they can kind of correct.
Right.
This whole clipping of everything is the problem. Like you need some sort of long form, some sort of context, and even within this long form, I know there's times we'll talk about something, and I'm just like, well, you could talk about this, and this off of it, and just. We could talk all day.
Yeah, right. I mean, we should do 24-hour podcast.
Y'all gonna hear me pee.
Dude, from the bathroom. Twitch stream. A telethon.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. Just like the internet's just a cesspool.
It's a fun place.
And then they're big pharma versus natural medicine. What is better?
What is better? Who knows?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you say.
It matters on the context of the situation.
You know what's crazy is how many people. The reason I brought this up because so many people dog big pharma and this stuff, and I was like, man, you know how many miracles we have because of big pharma. Yeah, like how long our lives are now. That because we're able to stop something.
Yeah, it's funny because I was reading one of the research articles we have, and it was about another neurodegenerative disease, and we had
neurodegenerative disease.
Push my glasses up when I say it. But we just had on our last podcast another one, Huntington's disease, right? And it's like, and it's funny because as I was writing that like description, I was like, what will this mean for the future of other neurodegenerative diseases or whatever? And then like this research article comes out, and I was like, oh well, there's a fucking answer, I guess.
Yeah, it's amazing, and then like natural medicine's great in the sense of like, overall stay healthy, stay preventative, but you're gonna tell me like my life's on the line and I need antiviral or maybe even antibiotic.
I'm gonna take a pill, man. I'm gonna take a pill.
I'm gonna take a pill. Like I'm gonna make that decision. Not saying that every time I need to get an antibiotic or I need this, but like how bad am I feeling? What is going on? What is my desperation level here? Like, what do I need? Now I know I shouldn't take an antibiotic like all the time because it destroys the microbiome a little bit. But you got to like stop being so extreme, people.
Yeah.
I think that's what the lesson is, this whole thing. Stop being so extreme.
Stop being so extreme, yeah. You use stuff when you got to and don't when you don't.
Just like I'm going to start going to Costco.
Uh-oh.
Because I'm going to get Ozempic or Wegovy for $4.99.
What? It was $4.99?
Yeah. So when I looked it up, it was like $499.
Oh.
No, not $4.99.
I was like, God damn.
No, $499.
Okay.
Now, what the article was saying and the thing was saying was like, it's still not going to help the population that really needs help the most.
Yeah.
For the most part. Because typically lower income people struggle a little bit more. You're still being
priced out. But perhaps this is a direction, right, that maybe the companies that are creating these medications will go, right, to where it's being sold in a more accessible
get rid of insurance.
way. I think insurance will be smaller than it was in the past, where it always was like everybody has to have insurance. You need it because blah blah whatever. I mean, dude, I've had insurance on and off, and I'll go to the doctor and sometimes I'm like, what the fuck do I even have this for? Like, number one, the doctor isn't in network, but the facility was, but you didn't know. So, but because you saw this doctor, you got to pay. And it's like,
it's all shitty.
I don't know. It's not going to be the way it is now. I can say that much at least.
I have a couple of ideas. But
it's going to have some revamp or change.
It's going to implode.
Yes, there's going to be an implosion, and it's going to have to be broken down and restructured completely. Or a lot of people are going to end up going to this sort of like concierge idea, right? I mean, we were just with some concierge doctors. We know a concierge doctor. It seems like it's becoming very popular. And I think people are just tired at the moment of dealing with insurance, paying for premiums, having to reach a deductible, all of this stuff that you're probably never going to do if you're like an average person, and then you're like, okay, well, I just spent $8,000 on my insurance for the year and I didn't get shit from it.
What if it's like, okay, let's just say you pay $500 for your insurance. What if there's like, okay, well, you could pay for $250 for concierge and we'll put the $250 aside for like testing each month.
That's an option.
Like, I'm still spending the same amount, but it's a lot.
It's being utilized.
At least I know I'm going to get taken care of when I see the doctor. Because they're going to do the test that they want to do.
Yeah. See, because there's that part too, right? We have so many doctors as clients, right? Or just people that we know. I know I've talked about this in the past, but talking to one of my clients who's a gastroenterologist, dude, doctors are handcuffed by insurance companies. There could be medication that's better. There could be interventions that are better. There's tests that are better. But if your insurance says, no, they can have these things that don't work as well because they're cheaper for us, that's it. The doctor can't do shit about it.
Crazy.
I mean, they could, but then you're going to pay out the wazoo for it, and it's
Stupid.
like no one's going to do it. Yeah.
Doctors should be leading the healthcare.
That is how it should be.
And you, the patient, should be leading your health.
Yes, at the very
not
front.
a company outside of it. And I think most people agree with this.
Yeah.
So why do we have insurance the way it is now?
Man, fucking so stupid.
Greed.
Yeah.
Easy
Yeah.
answer. Yeah.
New Mexico. They got the free insurance now.
The healthcare for kids.
Yeah. I heard they're going to do like daycare now too, right? Somewhere else is doing daycare.
Nowhere.
Somewhere is doing like free government provided daycare, which is pretty badass.
Wow.
I
You
gotta
need
look
to
it up. Yeah, go. Like I'm gonna look it up real quick.
hurry. Faster. Government.
Government dig. Oh well, they're not doing it right now because it's shut down.
Oh, okay. We'll get back to you next week. All right, let's go into our studies. So the first one says brain fat, not just plaques, may be hidden driver to Alzheimer's. This was at the University of Purdue University. This is in the United States, not outside.
It's also New Mexico.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For decades, scientists believe Alzheimer's was driven mainly by sticky protein plaques and tangles in the brain. Now, Purdue researchers have revealed hidden culprit fat. They found that the brain immune cells can become clogged with fat, leaving them too weak to fight off disease. By clearing out the fat and restoring the cell's defenses, researchers may have uncovered an entirely new way to combat Alzheimer's, shifting from focus on plaques alone to how the brain handles fat.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
You know what's cool about this? So there's like this just shows like science is not the problem, people are the problem. Because the reason that the plaques were researched for so long is because of false data that someone purposely provided. And it was like, I want to say in the 2000s or whatever. That's why they went that way. What? And then someone finally like reviewed some of it and they're like, something's not adding up. And then they did the whole thing and they realized some plaques.
Now, while I imagine that that's probably still a factor in some way, right? It's, as I was saying, with the Huntington's disease thing, is like we're moving in the direction, right, where some of these things that have plagued humanity at this point for so long, and I have clients whose parents deal with it, and it's tragic, man. It's really bad, and so it's nice to see that we're kind of making headway, and that we are going back and reviewing all this stuff. We talk often about how we're in like the world of information, but there's no application of any of it.
Or no review.
Maybe we will be going back and looking at some of these studies that have come out during the time of information, right? And extrapolating data from it, or realizing that, hey, it wasn't quite right or anything. But I know that they were talking about there's like a certain cell, I think that whenever it like releases a fatty acid or something like that, that blocks sort of like pathways.
Like clogs it, right?
Yeah. I mean, at a general speaking, yeah, that's essentially what's happening. Now, look. If we were an Instagram podcast, we'd probably say, don't eat fat anymore, right? Because fat's going to make you have Alzheimer's.
Ooh, yeah.
But that is not the case, right? It is not what this means. So I don't want anybody to think that now they should only have no fat this, no fat,
no carb, because 300 grams will kill you a day.
Not exactly the same, right? I know they're not exact. I know this is not exactly the correct thing to say, but like, thinking about fat, the macro, and fat that your body either produces or has, try to think about them separately. Yeah. Because eating fat does not mean you will get fat, right? That's not how this works. But there's just a little bit of some comfort, hopefully. Everyone's pouring out their whole milk.
All right. So the next one says, what happens to your body when you eat too many ultra-processed foods? Ultra-processed foods make up a bulk of U.S. diets, and new research links high intake of inflammation and a predictor of heart disease. People consuming UPFs, ultra-processed foods, here are far more likely to show elevated CRPs levels, which is inflammation proteins.
They're like inflammation markers.
And especially older adults, smokers, and those with obesity. Scientists that have ultra-processed foods may contribute to cancer and other chronic illnesses, urging stronger health policies despite pushback from powerful food companies.
Yeah, I mean, this is stuff that we kind of already know, right?
Yeah.
We've been
I think like we know
like
like plastics are bad already, right? I think it comes back to like us talking about how coaching really matters.
Yes, yeah.
And how am I going to get you off this ultra processed food? How am I going to take my time with you to like, dude, you're not just going to be able to quit cold turkey.
No
like
way.
I remember we were at the event. I was like, if you have 7 cans of Coke, maybe you do 3 cans of Coke and then 4 cans of Coke Zero.
Yeah, I think too often, talking about good and bad trainers and things like that, I see what I would maybe consider a bad trainer, right? Not give credit for that or say that that's not enough. You're still, who cares? You need to change it all.
You got to eat clean.
Yeah, you got to be done with it or not. And it's like, dude, I mean, I don't know who your clients are or what audience or demographic you're going after, but the general population and people that we meet on the daily basis, like, they can't do that, man. I mean, in fact, most of these foods are sort of, engineered to be addictive, right? And so it's like, how exactly do you stop eating, all these ultra processed foods that maybe you grew up eating because you guys didn't have a lot of money? And maybe there's a connection to them.
Like
almost.
when you get a tortilla and you put butter on it.
Dude, oh yeah. So I used to do that and then put honey on it.
Have you ever had like a tortilla and a hot dog?
Yeah, like a wrap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty good, right?
It's fucking awesome.
Nostalgia, bro.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, well, if that stuff reminds me of my childhood, like a coach would be like, all right, well, I don't want to take away the oatmeal cream pies your grandma used to give you, when you were sad.
Whoa.
Maybe I could have chosen a different dessert.
Thank you. Gotcha.
But, a coach would be like, well, how do we mitigate this or how do we change it, so that not every time that you're sad, you're eating these things. Or how we
eventually get you off of them. Like, even though they have a childhood thing and but starting by saying you can't have it, you're just going to want it more.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, have you ever had a child? Like, tell them no, and see how far that goes.
Have you ever had a wife?
Yeah, for real.
If I say no, it's not good.
You ever had a boyfriend that really likes potato chips? You tell me no? I'm going to the store right now. I'm pissed off.
What? I can't have it?
I'm fucking pissed right now. I'm the one that said no.
All right, guys, if you like what we're doing, we're on Apple, Spotify. You can rate and views. Check us out on YouTube. Leave a comment down below. Subscribe, like. Also, if you're looking for personal training in San Antonio, look at the app, Strength Solutions, on Apple or Google. Then, if you're looking for a website, strengthsolutionspodcast.com, free blogs and guides for programs. Oh, guides for free guides, programs for purchase. Then Strength Solutions Podcast at gmail.com. Emails, future fitness questions. Strength Solutions Podcast, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm Strength Solutions Edwin.
I'm Strength Solutions Nathaniel.
Deuce.
See y'all.
Deuce.